Welcome to this new Flight Simulator update movie. We're ready for departure and we're gonna fly above Charleston, which is one of those cities which received a photogrammetry update as part of World Update number 10. We already flew above several cities, right? Arlington, we flew above San Diego, Seattle, Key Largo. So we already visited most of them, but we're not finished yet because we're now gonna fly above Charleston in West Virginia. So let's go full throttle and let's go ahead and make sure that we can view this nice city. You can see that there's something weird with this runway, right? Maybe it's an error or something, but the runway is, I would say, really light gray and you almost can't see, I would say, the lines on the runway itself. We're departing from Yeager Airport, which is, well, maybe it's named to the, let's say, famous flyer, right? Chuck Yeager. Not 100% sure about that, but it could be a possibility. So we're gonna go airborne, and then we need to make a turn, because if you look at the map, then you will see that we're flying away from the city. So we're gonna make a turn to the left side, and then have a look if we can find the city. Normally what I would do is I would set up a navigation. I would set up a route, flight route, but since we're, let's say, pretty close to the city, I've decided not to do it. So let's see if I can find it. Might be already over there. So let's switch to the external view. So left from us is the airport, right? You can already see it. Nice river, which will bring us eventually to the city itself. So the city, not the city didn't have any point of interest before the update and still doesn't have anything. So if you're looking for point of interest, then I must disappoint you, because you won't see them a lot here. However, they updated photogrammetry content, which simply means that they used Bing Maps to update the say scenery based on that data point. You can see that they already have added multiple, I would say, buildings which are also in the air, right? You can see that the say direction which we're flying currently has some more higher buildings compared to the flat buildings which you normally would see. So that's good. So we're gonna make it another tour above this part of the city soon. Let's first go to the right side, to the other part of the city. You can see the bridges. They're looking, I would say, pretty default, to be honest. Not too spectacular. There was one point of interest which was a little bit further away, which was one of the bridges, which has been updated already as part of one of the previous world updates, which took place in the US. So let's decrease trimming a bit, because we want to remain pretty stable on the altitude. And that's always a challenge if you fly, right? Trimming, the trim wheel is, I would say, or it's too sensitive, or it's, I would say, reacts too slow. So always be very careful modifying that. So here we go, right? We're going into the direction. It looks like that we're now going into the industrial part of the city, right? Because behind us, that looks like really the city itself. Never been there, so can't adjust or can't make any judgment call if it's, say, good, yes or no. The other thing is that there are several cities pretty close by, so be aware of that. So we're flying, still happy flyers. So checklist. In some cases the, let's say, map helps if you press the correct buttons, because then you at least can see if you're flying into the correct direction. That's one of the troll things, right? You can see that ATC keeps calling out, but unfortunately if you're playing it on the Xbox it becomes a challenge unless you connect a keyboard which allows you to answer the ATC. I'm busy with validating if there's no other way, for example using a joystick or something which will make it easier, but unfortunately I didn't find anything yet. So if you want to, I would say, answer it right, you need to open the menu and then go to this nice icon and then simply say that you acknowledge, because else it will continue to repeat
Charleston
everything.
Tower Cessna Alpha Sierra X-ray Golf Sierra Alpha frequency change.
And then you can simply close it, and if you want to see where you are you can open the VFR map, and that's something I'm going to do right now because I want to see where we are currently. Okay, we're over here, so let's close the map. So let's turn around, because then we need to go back, right, because we're already a little bit too far from the city itself. You can see that these surroundings are pretty nice in this area, so a lot of green. There's a nice river which you can follow, right, as part of your VFR flight if you like to fly VFR. Can decrease the power a bit. So those could be what I would say, that could be one of the things. No, I didn't spot any rail tracks or something, unfortunately, because that's also always a nice thing. Of course you can always follow roads. That's another, I would say, nice opportunity. So keeping an eye on the altitude. And we're following the river back to the city. Some golf course, at least it looks like a golf course over here, right? One button. And then we will continue to fly into the, I would say, industrial part of the city, and then decrease our altitude also a bit, not too much, and then try to look a little bit closer by the buildings. Stick a little bit down to increase the descent rate, but keep an eye on the speed. And you can see that there are some errors in the bridges, right? You can see that there's looks almost like let's say a wall under the bridge. Those things have unfortunately not been updated, at least not in this world update, so hopefully they will come. What you can do if you spot these kind of issues, you can, I would say, still report them to Asobo. They're actively listening to that feedback and working on to improving stuff. So here you can see the industry part of the city. Pretty detailed, right, including, let's say, solar panels. There's some harbor and some other industry below us. And you can see that it's really big maps data, because if it would be handcrafted buildings, then they would have a lot of more detail, right? So it looks nice, but compared to handcrafted buildings, I would say there's still a lot of room for improvement. So we'll continue a flight into the direction of the, let's say, city center, right, which is over there. We're passing some bridges, keeping an eye on the altitude, close by 1,000 feet. And of course don't want to crash into the city. then we're flying over the city, including several, I would say, high buildings. Not too much traffic. If you look from this area, right, so it looks like some more detail, so it looks, let's say, nice. Again, not as nice as with handcrafted buildings, but it looks pretty cool. So if you live in this city, then let me know if it's realistic, right? Because I want to understand if it's, I would say, really realistic, or if there are things missing. In some cases, I would say, I get reports that it's not as realistic as people have hoped for, or we're passing, I would say, sport facility on the left side. But if that's the case, then let me know, because I'm really always curious about that. So then we're flying over a pretty high building here. Looks like some, let's say, government building or something. It's like a government building which is under construction. And then we already bypassed the city again. So here ends this how-to, or not how-to, or Microsoft Flight Simulator Update movie. In this video we looked at Charleston, which received a photogrammetry update as part of World Update number 10. You can still see that, I would say, in case of Flight Simulator on the Xbox Series X. It still loads the content while we're flying, so hopefully it will improve in the coming days, because this is something you sometimes see, say, pretty close to when the update has been released. Again, here ends this movie. I hope you liked it. If you liked it, then consider to use the like button. If you got questions or comments, then feel free to post them in the comment box below. And if you want to stay up to date about new videos I'm posting, then make sure that you're subscribing to my channel. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.